Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims and welcome to our new game, which is Virche Evermore Epic Lycoris. I know it's Lycoris. Somebody told me that in the first game that's how they pronounce it, but that sounds disgusting because it's like liquor. I don't like it. No. So we've been calling it Lycoris since the first game, and we're going to continue doing that because, like, ugh. I know I'm going to forget some of the pronunciations that we learned in the first game, so you guys just remind me. But anyway, hi, if you're new here, I'm hoping that you watched the first game. If not, you should watch the first one, because otherwise this will make no damn sense. This is a fan disc sequel. I think it's more like a fan disc than anything, for Virche Evermore Error Salvation. So go watch that first. If you're new here, but you've played that game and you didn't watch the playthrough, that's fine. But I'll give you my normal spiel. I don't really think there should be new people here because, like, again, it's a fan disc, so that's a weird place to start, but hey, whatever, you do you, Buttercup. Hi, I'm Spacey. I'm obnoxious. I swear a lot. We're not family friendly here. I do all the voice acting. We don't play with the voice acting on. So if you want to hear the sexy, sexy Japanese voice actors do their job and do it well, this is not going to be for you. We do listen at the very end to certain scenes and bits and pieces and listen to the voice acting at the very last part, just to get an overview. But if you really want to listen to that, go buy the game and play it yourself. All right? So support the game industry. Okay? We are doing this. This is more for, like, people coming in and be like, ooh, I played it and I want to see you play it. And I want to see what your thought process is. Plus, I will also ramble a lot and throw in thought processes, random things, like, what do I think about this, analyzing things, and then the next line's going to tell me exactly what's going on, you know? But, like, we do this, so if you want a game where we're just going to read through and we're not going to talk about random shit, this also ain't for you, okay? We postulate here, we formulate hypotheses, we're proven wrong all the time. I also have a bird who is obnoxious and gets into shenanigans, and so we have to, you know, talk to him and tell him that he's being mean and biting, or tell him how adorable he is. He's sitting under my chin being very adorable at the moment, so. And he's always with me. Unless I throw him downstairs because he's annoying, and then he's screaming downstairs, and then I'm yelling at him to shut his fucking mouth. So, you know, that's shit. If there's anything I forgot, someone will remind me. But anyway, the synopsis of this. So, anyway, this is a fan disc for the original game, so you should probably play or watch that first. And even though we did play this game recently, it's been a little too long, so I don't remember shit except for Depression Train the Game. This is not a good day to start this. Okay. Anyway, synopsis: on a small island called Arpachel, grow the black flowers of misfortune called the Lycoris noirs. I know, again, like licorice. Blech. Yeah, liquor. Lick what? No, gross. It's like licorice, and it's like, ew. And I know that's why they went with it, but it still sounds gross. The people of this country are born with a curse, condemning the people to death before the age of 23. After many years of research, a method of prolonging the lifespans was created by cloning their memories and bodies. Those who live forever through the memory download systems are known as relivers, and I'm pretty sure one of you guys told me that they say relivers, but relivers just sounds so weird to me. So we're going to go back with our standard, we're calling it relivers, as we did. And continue to resist their short lives. Experience the new despair and salvation that awaits Spacey and her suitors in these 5 new tales that further explore the world of Virche Evermore. We also changed the main character's name to Spacey to make it more awkward again, if you're new here. So the fan disc comprises 5 different sections. Side story interlude, which is a collection of events from the main story, featuring what-if scenarios, glimpses into the love interest past, and additional untold stories of side characters, along with a few backstories for new characters. So new characters, fun. Fun! Oh, great, new voices I gotta figure out. Side End Encore is new alternate routes for the 5 main love interests. These routes basically revisit stories from the first game, but added a different spin on their ending. So, Trauma Train the Game Part 2. And again, that's just Eve, Lucas, Mathis, Cyan, and Adolphe, not Ankou. Ankou gets his own actual route here, so there you go. And then the Virche de la Coda Emotion. These are after stories for the main love interests from Error Salvation, continuing from each main character's salvation end in the first game. Like I remember which one was which, okay? I remember bursting into fucking flames in a flower field, and Lucas just being there, poking around with our freaking bones. Those are 2 different endings, but like that's basically all I remember. So, you know. And being a sandwich dispenser for that sexy bastard Scion, and I'll fucking do that forever. Anyway. Traditional Drifter is an untold story about the founder of the family that secretly guards the Lycoris flowers and how he changed the fate of the country. And then Virche du Salut, Ankou. This is Ankou's route, a new story of the Watchman of Death and the key he holds to the Maiden of Death's future. So, with that being said, there's only one route restriction. We're using Otome Kitten's guide. We use guides to play the games. Again, in case you're new here, and if you're not new here, you know this drill, but you know, just refresh you. There's only one route restriction in the game. You have to clear the Drifter story to unlock Ankou's route and after story. And there's no definite route orders implemented by the developers. And as she states, she doesn't think it matters which love interest story you start with first. However, the devs did suggest on Automate's blog that if you want the game to end on a happier note, a happier note, not a happy note, but happier. So I don't know, our standards should be pretty low for that. You can play in the order of doing Encore, Emotion, Drifter, Ankou, and then do the side stories and interlude as a breather in between. If you prefer the game to end with its despair theme, so Trauma Train the Game 2.5, they suggest interlude, so the happier stuff, then Emotion, Drifter, Ankou, and then Encore, which is the other versions of the sad shit. And then that said, they're only suggestions, and they emphasize it's best to play in whatever order feels right for you. Which, for us, it's generally, I like the idea of doing the happier note, so we're going to do that. And Otome Kitten notes, during her gameplay, she followed their first suggested order and played one love interest at a time, starting with their Encore stories to get them out of the way. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, there are times we go through and we read, like, her thoughts on routes after we play them, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't feel that, or I don't necessarily, that didn't bother me, or whatever, but I wholeheartedly agree with get the sad shit out of the way and let's end on a happy note, okay? Then Emotion, then Drifter, Ankou, and then all the side stories last, but personally, I definitely agree that these really don't matter that much. So what it sounds like is, obviously, in Interlude, Encore, and Emotion, there are stories for each one of our main love interests, and then in Interlude, there might be some stories for side characters. But, you know, what she did, and what I think seems like the best thing to do, is you go through a character. So, the first character we did in the original playthrough was Mathis. I went back to the original guide because I'm like, I don't freaking remember. Listen, if we just finished the game yesterday, I'd remember. We finished the game like a month or 2 ago, maybe 3 or 4. I don't fucking remember, okay? Spacey's brain is a sieve and everything drifts out of it. Again, I can't remember because I don't have enough room to remember shit with the mental man-harem I got going on here. Every time new men show up, I forget things, i.e. playing the game. I forget. Don't remember what happened. Okay, I forgot math at this point. Kent's really disappointed in me, so, like, whatever. But anyway, so it would be like you doing Mathis and doing the Encore and Emotion routes, and then going and doing the next character, which I think was Lucas. Then we did Scion, then we did Eve, then we did Adolphe. Okay, so you do their Encore and Emotions for each character. Then you do the Drifter route, you do Ankou, and then the side stories is fucking everybody. So it's not like we'd go into Mathis, do his Encore, his Emotion, and then do his interlude stuff. We'll save all the interlude stuff for at the end, and I think that works the best. I will say I may not... We're going to do Mathis first, but I may not fucking remember when we're done with Mathis, depending on how long it takes, even if it's 2 days. That the order we did it in, because the order, and we may not follow the original order of the game. That's actually what I really want to say, because her walkthrough orders are different on this guide. She has Mathis, Eve, Lucas, Scion, Adolphe, Drifter, and Ankou, and I'm kind of concerned that I might be stupid, because that's a valid concern, you guys, you know this. I might do Mathis, and then if we did Lucas Bubble, and forget to do fucking Eve, because he's floating around. You know what I mean? So, we'll see what happens. We'll see if we go off order, but it doesn't really matter at any rate. So, and then obviously, she's got her thoughts on the characters and everything like that. I'm not going to read those. We'll do that once we finish, say, you know, the stories and everything. So, we're going to start with Mathis. So, we'll open that up. I think I remember the voices I did. I had to look at the cards and be like, right. So for the walkthrough will help you complete all of Mathis's endings, side and encore, and the emotion one. There are no choices in the... Oh, Virche de la Coda. I can't read that, but I'm assuming it's despair. Wait, what? Oh! So emotion must have different... Wait a minute. Oh. So in emotion, there's despair, and then there's salute. And then, okay. Oh, Jesus, and then side story interlude. Oh, okay. So we're going to have to come back to these guides for interludes. Okay. I'm just seeing how the guide works. Whatever, it doesn't matter then. I'm not really looking at the answers, but whatever. Mathis's first 2 CGs are in the side stories, and then Encore, Emotion, Drifter, Encore. Okay. So I kind of agree with that, and she starts with Encore. Okay, so. We're not going to be Ceres. We're Spacey. So. No, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to do delete. I was thinking, okay. Delete. They were like, no cap button, just I'm going to put all the alphabet in here twice. I don't know how to spell my own name. My brain's not working well. I did not get a lot of sleep last night, so. Spicy. Spicy! Yes, they don't let me put exclamation points or like ampersands. Nope, you can't give me... Nope, we can't do... Sorry. Nope. Okay. They were going to do like a, whatever. Okay, so this is... Oh, that's interlude. I really wish I could read that better. It's far away. Okay. Encore, emotion, drifter, and then you can't do Ankou. Okay. So we are going to do Encore, and then we're going to pick... Well, now you got to be all out of order. We're going to pick Mathis in the middle. Okay. To Mathis's story, Yos. I kind of forgot this was a fan disc, and I was like, oh my god, it's going to take so long to like catch up. And I'm like, no, right, they're going to be relatively quick. Okay, I'm not sure who's speaking, so I'm just going to read it normal. This land has been touched by death. This land has succumbed to death. As the people couldn't resist death, they instead decided to repeat it, to live beside death for all eternity. To live with the curse of death's love. Again, I don't know who's talking, so... Was it death who mocked us with this curse eons ago, only to disappear? Or perhaps... You have to read yourself.
生まれた人間が23歳までに命を落とすこの国は、かつて外界から訪れた漂流者によってこう呼ばれるようになった。死神に見入られた国と。
Okay. I did turn off. Okay.
ブローが死に、復讐という目的を失っていた僕に優しく接してくれたあなた。まさかクロード家でメイドをするなんて思わなかったけど、あなたと過ごす時間はとても穏やかで幸せで、この平穏を大切にしたいって思えるようになりました。あなたのおかげです。まさか書いていた小説を見られちゃうとは思いませんでしたけど、あなたと一緒に小説の続きを考えていると、新しい構想がたくさん浮かんでくるんです。僕はもう取り戻せない過去よりも、あなたと共に過ごす今が一番幸せです。そう思っていたのに、ブローは生きていた。兄さんの仇が目の前に。ああ、僕の心が黒い復讐心で塗りつぶされていく。
Chapter 3? Excuse me? Where did chapter 1 and 2 go? Okay. Hopefully that was loud enough, because I didn't know it was going to do that, so I didn't, like, crank up the volume or anything. So I will try on those scenes when we do it to just, like, do this. Sit there, shut up, so you can turn it up, and then I'm not screaming in your ear. Right. Boro, I think that's what we're naming. I think that's how we said it. I don't know if that was right. But anyway, was technically, you know, well, not really. His brother wasn't really dead, because it was Jean. Damn it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I remember that. I don't remember how the ending at. Well, whatever. What crept into an innocent heart was a man with no name, no heart, and no body. One conceived from a fantasy. And I mean, I do remember Mathis is just like Pinocchio. He not even a real boy. Would impulse alone lead to the devouring of a life so despised? Or perhaps... And we were all kept imprisoned. Well, yeah, because Jean was Camille. Jean kept, like, his lover's body in a tube in the basement. And was always downloading brain different people that he stole from the research facility into Mathis. And so Mathis is a conglomeration of a bunch of different people. And I remember one of the endings, like, dumping all those people into Mathis and hoping Mathis would kill us over and over again or whatever. And, like, one time, you know what I mean? And I thought, like, we got through to him or whatever, he would stop trying to murder us because the Mathis that was in love with us would kind of break through. A few days had passed. The appearance of Boro was reported immediately to the royal guard and the royal family, but they hadn't given any specific orders, so Adolphe and the others were frustrated, unable to take much action. So it seems, okay, so these ones, it's like, rewind a little bit. Again, it's an alternate ending. As for me, the bandage wrapped around my head was slowly being removed. Oh, there we go. There's our favorite hateable character. God, I love to hate you so much. Did their mouths move in the first one? Did they move? Yeah. You gotta love Capucine so much. You gotta love him. Just because he's so detestable and hateable, and they made him pretty. They're like, he's pretty, and he's just so awful. You're like, God, I hate him, but it's so good. You know what I mean? Damn, there's some characters I hate that I'm like, no, I will light you on fire. I will stab them. I hate them. And Capucine, you're like, yeah, you know what, though? He's the worst. He really is, but it's a good time. I don't know what it is. He's my favorite character to hate. I don't know. You know? My advice would be for you to stay a few more days, but at the very least, I can confirm your head and skull are sound. I don't remember the voice we gave him, so whatever. You're free to leave. I'll prescribe some painkillers, so take them if you experience headaches. Understood. Thank you very much for your time, Doctor. Come now, we've known each other since those incidents. He went on to say that I probably shouldn't see another doctor since the royal family hadn't publicly announced what happened. Dr. Capucine continued to speak in a calm manner as he recalled the incident that threw the country into chaos. I must say, I'm surprised you got away with only a bruise after being hit by that murderer. I don't remember their mouths moving in the first one. It's slightly disjointing right now. I can't tell if you were lucky or not, to be honest. He was wrong. The reason why I'm still alive is because it wasn't Boro who struck me. I didn't remember clearly, but I had to understand my situation. Mathis was intent on going after Boro, so he struck me in the head, then disappeared. But it seemed like he hadn't returned to the Claude family mansion at all. Even Adolphe seemed to have a hunch as to who actually hit me, but I kept quiet on the matter, so they respected my silence and didn't say anything. Right, and Sister Salome is actually the fucking queen. Man. so much good shit. There was a lot of good twists in this game for it being, like, totally rude and, like, bitch slapping us in all the feels and not giving us happy endings, but I'm not angry or holding a grudge about being hit. His brother's killer, who we thought was dead, had returned. A sister was killed in front of her younger brother. I knew how Mathis felt about his brother and how he respected him, which is why I couldn't blame him for going mad with rage as he saw his own past through what happened. Okay, and this is also then before he finds out that Jean is Boro. Well, actually, not really. He's controlling... Wasn't he controlling Lucas? Isn't it a Lucas clone? Technically, that's Boro. Right, I can't quite remember that one. But I know Jean had something to do with it because he was also... Oh, well, he was the one... If you were trying to get away and you held up flowers at the ocean or whatever to escape, he murdered those hookers and whatnot. He was that murderer. But the Lucas clones... What? Who? Oh, no, Capucine was responsible for the Lucas clones that were going out killing people, and Capucine was the one controlling... Yeah. But Jean obviously never died, and was Camille, who was technically Mathis's brother, air quotes around bro. I'm just trying to work this out in my head. But now I don't remember. I thought they tied together somehow other than they're both just serial murderers. Maybe they were both just serial murderers. Right. It's okay. I'll figure things out as we go and remember things. You know, you guys have way better memories than I do. My memory is literally like a goldfish or a sieve. I don't know. Anyway. Still... You don't have the right to get in the way of my revenge. Let me go, death. Harsh. I was very confused by how Mathis yelled and even looked like a different person, because we don't know that he's got multiple personalities dumped in there. Okay. I see you've left the hospital. I'm very relieved that you're well. And that said, I'm truly sorry for what the master has done, and I really hate the fact that you're evil because you were so goddamn beautiful. Our beautiful butler bastard boyfriend, who is just a stabby douche canoe. Damn. They did a really good job with making the psycho side characters who are stabby be pretty. You know? So that you're like, oh, I want to hate you, but I kind of love you, but I also hate you. And like, damn. And I hate myself for thinking you're beautiful when you're a bastard. Good job, game. I hate you already. Just kidding. What do you mean? I don't remember anything about what happened when I was hurt. I have no idea what you mean, Jean. Seeing me force out a smile, Jean quietly lowered his head. Besides, I'm actually more worried about you, Jean. You look pale. From the looks of it, you probably haven't slept in a long while. Perhaps you should get some rest. His experiment's running wild. Absolutely not. After all, I do not know when the master will be back. As the Claude family's butler, I must wait until the master returns. If that's the case, then let me keep watch while you get some rest. Please. We've caused enough trouble to you already, so any more is simply too much. But at this rate, you're going to collapse before Mathis returns, Jean. I feel like this is a conversation we had in the first game. Because it feels very familiar. Am I having deja vu? Imagine what would happen if Mathis saw you unconscious. You blame yourself enough for not being fit to be a butler, don't you? He's like, I'm not, because I'm a rich man. I haven't submitted my resignation, so I'm still your workmate and friend. If you need help, please let me be of assistance. The master has really found a wonderful friend indeed. Thank you very much. If you don't mind, then, I will accept your offer. I watched as Jean walked into his room, collapsed on the bed, and immediately fell asleep. I let out a quiet sigh. I told him he should rest, but I'm the one who brought misfortune to this place. To be honest, I was planning on leaving after checking on the situation here, but I was so worried of the two of them, about the two of them, that I ended up involving myself even more. I also remember the ending where we buried ourselves alive in order to, like, siphon out the poison in the dirt. Okay. Mathis, where are you? Your other brother's so worried about you. I changed into my maid uniform and went around the mansion to see if there were any chores to be done. Apart from some light dust here and there, I didn't see much that needed to be done, especially after seeing enough food in the storage. I sat alone in the guest room, sipping some tea to pass the time. I thought of cleaning the place a bit, but it would defeat the purpose if Jean woke up from any noise I made. I never knew this mansion could be so quiet. This hour was usually much busier. I'd usually be enjoying lunch with Jean and Mathis around now. Not that we were a very lively bunch. Sometimes it'd get quiet while we eat, but he would then mumble to himself about how good the food tasted. But not hearing his praise now, I never knew how lonely it could be here. I didn't have it in me to pass the time idly in the guest room. I wonder if these were scenario, like they kind of wrote this out, like this is their idea for an end, this is their idea, and they had a couple ideas for endings, and they wrote in the original game, and then they were like, oh yeah, let's use those in the fan disc. Or they wrote the game, and then when they were doing the fan disc, they're like, let's come up with other ideas. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder how many of these were just created on the spot for the fan disc, or had a basis in the original game where they were like, here's a way that this could go, and then they just decided they didn't want to go that route, and now they're like, oh, we can put that in the fan disc, though. You know what I mean? Because, like, think about it. As you're writing a book or a story or anything, you've got a million different ways it could go, and you work out one that works for you, but you've got alternate kind of versions. So I wonder, like, are these alternate versions that in the production of the original game they were thinking of, that maybe they hadn't fully fleshed out, it was just a rough idea, that then they just brought back to life for this? Or did they completely start from scratch, like, okay, we're going to do a fan disc. Okay, well, let's think one of the things we could do is, like, alternate endings. Okay, well, let's start from this point and write a whole different ending, and then, like, start it from scratch from there. You know what I mean? I would assume they probably had some rough ideas to work with, but with no real objective, I went inside Mathis's room. Maybe it was from the room being empty for a few days, but the light shining inside was making the dust in the air sparkle. His study tools were there. His pens were completely dry. I then looked at the writing paper strewn about the floor. Right, wasn't he writing like a detective novel or something? I randomly picked up one of the sheets. It must have been written on recently, as the last sentence was still incomplete. Oh, right, and didn't, like, because Mathis has memories, some of his personality was Camille's personality. So that, and he's writing, but that was something that Camille used to do. He was probably having fun writing this. Just when Mathis finally began to move forward in life, too. Why did Bordo come back to life now? Well, because Capucine finished making the Lucas replacement. It may have been the first time I'd ever held a grudge against someone. I planned to talk to Mathis about this newly written portion of his story when he returned. I heard something cut through the air, and I reflexively jumped away from where I stood. In the same moment, a silver blade ran through the space my neck had just occupied. I was speechless. If I hadn't moved, blood would certainly be spewing from my neck right now. The source of the attack was a knife, and the one who drew it without hesitation was probably Mathis. Oh, it's you. He doesn't seem too sus that he almost killed me. He appeared without a sound. At the same time, I felt a sharp point against my back. Mathis? The fear from having a blade against me overwhelmed my joy of finally seeing him back. You shouldn't go through someone else's room without their permission. Have you forgotten that I'm the head of this mansion? I'm sorry, but I was just so worried about you since you hadn't come back. I'm wondering, I can't remember where we are in our romance with him at this point. Like, is this like, like before the romance happens? friends, or like we're kind of on the path, but we haven't really like expressed it either way. And also now he's kind of snapped, so he's not going to remember it all. You know what I mean? Like I don't remember where it was in the stage. Like beginning, middle, toward the end of the romance. I'm assuming closer to the middle, but. Are you injured? Don't tell me you fought against Boro. Shh. With a click of his tongue, Mathis put away his dagger and began looking through his desk. So you won't be leaving the mansion like that anymore, right? There's no way I'm going to be staying here knowing I let Boro get away. I also feel like this is a little deja vu-y, like something, if not, I don't think it would be the exact same thing. Because, like, come on, guys, don't use all the exact same stuff. But I do feel like it's very similar. You know what I mean? Like, weren't we poking around his room and didn't he come back and, like, you know? And one of my knives broke, so I came to get a spare. Huh? He continued to look inside his desk and carelessly stepped on his writing papers on the floor. Because again, this feels very familiar. What are you doing? Aren't those part of the novel you were writing? Why are you stepping on... Papers won't help me exact my revenge. They've taken over my desk and are only in the way now. I should just... Annoyed, Mathis fixed his hold on the knife in his hand. No. He then swung it down vertically. Wait! And stuck its blade into the stack of papers still on the desk. As I stood there speechless, he continued, pulling the knife away and tearing them into pieces so small they were unrecognizable. Why? The torn pieces of his manuscript danced in the air right in front of my eyes. But every day you were so happy. Your pen wouldn't stop as you dreamed of finishing this novel. So why... I told you, no novel's going to be of any help. I got on my knees and began gathering the pieces of paper. I can't read any of it. The record of the previous memories I had created with Mathis. The record of the precious memories. I was like, previous precious memories I created with Mathis. Precious. This is so annoying. I'm losing my patience just watching you. Mathis looked down at me with cold eyes as I hung my head over the scraps of paper in my hands. But just then... He glitched. Mathis suddenly began groaning, dropping the knife he held. It's time for him to reboot. What? My head. Mathis! Right, because didn't this happen where then it's like, and John's like, oh yeah, no, he comes back because you've got to plug him in every night. You know what I mean? To like reboot him or whatever. Like, and then that's how we end up like all, and then imprisoned with him and find out that, you know, all that shit. I moved quickly, catching his body as he fell. You have a terrible fever. You were out all this time in this condition? It has nothing to do with you. Yes, it does. I had to set my sadness aside. Grabbing Mathis by his shoulders, I forced him to sit on his bed. Stop. I don't have time to be resting. No, I can't let you out alone as you are now. Spacey, I heard voices coming from here. Has the master come back? Jean, I'm so glad you're here. Mathis has a terrible fever. Could you please bring some water? Understood. I'll bring some immediately. As I heard Jean hurrying down the stairs, I gently laid Mathis's body down on his bed. Stop it! Let go! If you're gonna get in my way, then I'll... I don't care how much you hit me! You can't do anything in your current state, right? The strength he was exerting to push against my shoulder was considerably weak. At the very least, rest until you're able to push me off. When you do, let's talk again. After hearing me out, Mathis silently pulled the bedsheets over himself. You're just a lowly servant. A shameless woman who just makes me almost want to kill her. And in just a few seconds, he fell asleep. I looked from his sleeping face to the fragments of paper scattered across the room. For now, I'll just focus on him getting better. I simply sat there silently, gazing at Mathis's face as he slept. Again, feels very familiar, but I don't know if it's like word for word exactly the same, which, okay, so one of you guys will have to tell me. Like, yeah, no, it's basically exactly the same. Because we know how much I hate having to read the same shit over and over. But it's been long enough that I don't remember it fully, so I'm okay with it. It's like a refresher. But what I will say, if it's just like vaguely familiar and it's roughly the same, it's the same concept, but the lines are a little different. But yeah, he comes back and you have a conversation, and I remember him. I feel like I remember him like destroying his manuscript or throwing it around or going to throw it away or something, and maybe that was in a different part or something. You know what I mean? Um, but if it is exactly the same, it makes me question like what the fuck they think they're doing, putting the exact same thing in and like a whole like giant chunk of text that's the exact same thing from like I get it, you gotta have like a little bit of a back, like, oh, blah blah blah, and give you a little bit of a refresher, depending on how long away you played one game versus the next. I mean, for us, the localizations didn't come out too far away. I actually don't think the first game and this one were released too far apart. I didn't think Virche, like, I didn't think the first one, I thought we got a localization pretty fast after it was initially released in Japan. Not like it's released and then 5 years later we get it. It's like they got it, then we got it. They got a fan disc. We got, so like, I think it was pretty much back to back. So I don't think the gap between when the first game released and when this came out was, you know, the initial Japanese releases were that much greater than what we got had it for. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's been 2 or 3 years since the game released and then you got a fan disc where like, okay, let's put it like whatever. But even if it was, most people will replay a game. I know with when we did the Amnesia fan discs, I replayed the game because I'm like, it's been like 84 fucking years since I played that. This one I probably could have replayed. I don't have the time, but it's like, wasn't that long ago. When I play it, I'll remember things as we go. Do I remember everything right now? Fuck no. But you know, so I question them reusing the exact same text. You know what I mean? Just to set up where it's splitting off from. You know? But I don't like the thing with Capucine and like, okay, Mathis is one that I was like, okay, I didn't think that was the same. This feels very similar, but I don't know if it's similar or it feels similar because it's 100% the same. One of you guys will let me know. But I question that, like, how much of the exact same shit are we gonna get if it's the same? You know what I mean? But again, I'm just getting a vague impression that this seems very familiar. Like, we have done some of this similarly, at least before. Which isn't a bad thing right now, because it's like, again, I don't remember it. So, hey, feeling like, okay, wait, I feel like I remember this. Okay, I feel like this feels familiar, at least is kind of helping me be like, okay, wait, maybe it's going to like strike some memories in the back of my brain. So, a few minutes later, Mathis's cheeks were red as he slept, seemingly still in pain. I see. So that's all that happened in my absence. I'm sorry. If only I had noticed and arrived sooner. I would have been able to protect the precious memories made by the both of you. He fucking knew and he let it happen because he's an ass. No, it's not your fault, Jean. Nor is it Mathis's. I believe he's just confused because so much happened. Okay, was it a bad ending? Or was it one of his other ones where, like, you know, he thinks he's Camille and we're Camille's girlfriend? And we're like, yeah, sure, and we just accept it and pretend like everything's okay with that because at least we get to be with him, even though we know and hope that the real Mathis is in there somewhere. I feel like that was a bad ending, but, and then again, all the endings in this were kind of like, go fuck yourself. So it could have been one of the good endings for all I know. Anyway, I do hope that's all it is. As we stood there with anxious looks on our faces, Mathis stirred with pain. I have to kill him. Borrow my brother's killer. Camille Claude, Mathis's late older brother who was killed by Boro. Not really. I have to make him feel the same suffering my brother felt. After that, he kept cursing the person he was obsessed with killing. He's seeking revenge even in his dreams. I see. Even when he has people around him now that are so important to him. Why? Let's all talk together once he's better. He may have been acting so strangely because his fever was agitating his emotions. Right. Let us believe in him and hope he'll get back to his normal self tomorrow. Be back, sorry. However, that hope was swiftly shattered. He is gone. My word. The remaining two of us in the mansion stood speechless. Our master, who we worked together to take care of, was no longer here. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's because I wasn't watching him carefully enough. No, this is not your fault. No one could have imagined he would leave, considering his state. But if only I hadn't let my guard down. An hour earlier, after Jean had left to get medicine from the doctor to help relieve Mathis's fever, I was left to look after Mathis alone. But within the few minutes I took to get more water to cool his head with a wet towel. Mathis? He had vanished completely from the bed. I looked for him immediately, as well as with Jean after he came back. But no matter how much we searched, we couldn't find him. I contacted Adolphe about the incident, who was busy in a search for Boro, and we were now waiting for a response back. It's all right. The master's rather easy to spot, given his attire. I'm sure he'll be found right away with the help of Adolphe and his team. I hope so. Yes, Rosalie is surely watching over him now as well. As he murmured, I saw that... That's... I believe that's the locket that John keeps his lover's picture in. His hand grasped the locket I saw before, which contained her picture. The cover was broken back then, and I wasn't able to see it clearly, but... Oh, she has the same hair color as me. Yes, isn't she beautiful? She was proud of her beautiful hair, something to be tended to without a day going by without. It feels like yesterday that I would comb through her perfect hair with my fingers. And she would scold me, saying she needed to fix it again. Jean talked about her with pure love, but... Is it just me? His memories were definitely filled with love and joy, but the way he was expressing himself felt a bit strange. What? Why are you looking at me like that, bird? You look like a bowling pin. Thank goodness you're safe. Please never do that again, I beg of you. If anything were to happen to you, Master, I'll lose every reason to continue living. Thinking about it again, I wonder why Jean said those things before. Didn't he have someone he wanted to share his future with? That wasn't all. Why hadn't I noticed sooner? Please watch over her and the Master. Feels like yesterday. Scolded. He was talking about his lover, but he was speaking in the past tense. Jean? You're not able to see her now, are you? I asked my question, hoping to ease the strange feeling inside me, but... You heard me talking to myself, I see. Yeah, because, Rosalie's in the basement, and we know she's dead, and wasn't she a prostitute? And, he was gonna run away with her or whatever. But, also she was pregnant, and, didn't he take, and Mathis is kind of, his brother's son? Didn't he, take, fetal cells from her, and then also from other pregnant ladies? Because he was killing a bunch of pregnant hookers or some shit, because this man's got a type, which is just bizarre. It's so Mathis is kind of like your son, in a way, because you created him, but also took it from your girlfriend, your child's fetal cells, and also, other... So this is really weird. Right? Didn't it get that fucking weird? I mean, listen, a lot of this game's fucking weird. I'm very sorry. As you may have sensed, I did lie to you a little. My lover, Rosalie. I cannot see her again ever. A few years ago, she was brutally murdered by a certain person. I can only stare in surprise. And again, I feel like this is very similar. I don't know if this revelation and everything. I mean, like, I remember him telling us about it, but fair enough, you know. He'd been smiling so happily, talking about his future with his lover. But what he spoke about was something that could never come true. And the picture you see here was taken just before she passed away. In addition, that woman... Oh, there's my beautiful bastard boyfriend. God, I love him so much. I'll dispense more than sandwiches for him. I'll dispense whatever the fuck he wants. He can use me however the fuck he wants. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten my lust for Cyan. You have horrible taste. Which is why Monsieur Brofis said that I have horrible taste, or so I believe. Oh, wait, what's actual Cyan's last name? Was it Profiwas or something? Is that what it was? Was that what it was, guys? Still can't get over that. That makes no sense. We're not doing... Oh, God, right. That's one of the funniest fucking things. Really? I don't... Where is the Z... Like, where's the W in there? Letters are stupid. Language is fucked up when you just have two I's and that means was. Like, Iwa. It's Iwa. It's like, because the profi, but then the Y's be the extra I. That's a W. I can't even say English because it's definitely not, but it's like, you know, man, European languages are all stupid. And to be fair, English came from one of those, and all of them. We bastardized a bunch, which we made it really stupid, to be fair. But like, man, language is ridiculous if you think about it. Useful, but kind of fucking ridiculous. Oh, good lord. I have to admit, he truly is a genius for the ability to understand this picture with just a glance. I looked closer at the beautiful woman in the locket. She had her arms crossed across her chest, and her eyes were closed as if she were sound asleep. Was it, that's what I wondered, and I can't remember now, but was like, oh, you have horrible taste because it's a death picture? You know what I mean? Like you would have done back in the Victorian times, like, oh, let's take a photo of Grandma. It's the last time we saw her. Let's take her death shroud photo, and you're like, weird, you know? Of course, I did think about reviving her as a reliver. But as I mentioned before, we were both committed to not becoming relivers so that we wouldn't lose our love. As such, she does not have a backup. And that's true. He was trying... Isn't that what he was trying to do, to bring her back, but wanted to see if he could revive her, but still keep their love, and that's what his experiments were? Is that what he was doing? I mean, you gotta be fair. Like, you're a psychopath for everything that you're doing, but the reason you're doing it's kind of beautiful. Doesn't justify what you did, but your reason for it's nice. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want to revive my dead love and I want to make sure that she loves me. So I'm going to do everything I can to do these scientific experiments to make that possible. Oh, and that includes killing hookers and then downloading people's brains into this homunculus I made and torturing people and whoa. Back it up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Right. And we kind of fueled his research in a way because Mathis, no matter how many brains he dumped into him and whatever ending it was, always remembered us. Even though he'd start to kill us or whatever. So we just lived in that I don't think that was the main ending. That was one of them, though. So, no matter how much he loved her, which is why my only option was to accept that I've lost her forever. Does Mathis know about this? He quietly shook his head. The master is sincerely happy about our engagement. I cannot possibly tell him the situation now, so will you please keep it a secret? I promise. I wondered what Jean must be feeling right now, talking about her. He said she was brutally murdered, but Was she killed by Boro? If so, I couldn't let him run free and take away another precious person from the Claude family. And I can't remember how she was killed or whatever. I kind of remember them telling us that, but I don't remember it. If it was Boro, but possibly because like Capucine killing people would make sense. Like, oh, you sinned, like whatever, because she was a pregnant hooker. But then again, Jean is killing prostitutes or women who are trying to escape. So like, I mean, bro, you ain't like a saint either here. I left the mansion, pondering over what I could do to help. Although there wasn't much, considering how helpless I was. Hello there, princess. It's another beautiful night for the Lycorises to blossom. I could at least gain information from the Watchman of Death, who oversaw all deaths here. Hello, Adelphi 2.0. Spoiler if you didn't know that already, but again, you should have played the first game or watched it. Ankou, I came to see you after hearing you were injured. But it seems I had no need to worry, seeing your face so full of determination now. He gave me a smile, the true intentions of which I couldn't read. And again, they were really brilliant in doing it and having two different voice actors voice, because it's supposed to be the same character, it's supposed to be the same person, but they're different characters, and they could have been like, well, we'll have a voice actor to just two different voices and do it. But then that would have been obvious when you saw the voice acting. You'd be like, wait a minute. And, you would have figured it out. And, like, that's part of the huge mystery of the game, right? Anyway. It had been a long time since we last met. He said he'd watch me from the field of Lycorises. It was as if he knew what was going to happen. He appeared in front of me the moment I stepped outside for some fresh air. I don't remember Ankou visiting us in Mathis's route when all this was going down. You know what I mean? Again, I don't remember at all, but some of the conversations, I'm like, it feels familiar. I think we had this conversation. Okay, I think I remember something similar at least. I don't remember this. Boro has appeared again. So it seems. Ankou, you warned me before, but you knew Boro was still alive and kept it secret, didn't you? Yes, I could not find any trace of his soul being carried to Hades. Let me add, I cannot tell you where the souls of the beautiful flowers that bloom in the night have gone. He's probably telling me to find out myself what happened to the prostitute. I don't know why you can't tell me what you know, but when you tell me things like that, it's like you want to provoke me. My apologies. I'm not keeping quiet because I wish to tease you. However, I will help you as much as I can. The key to the incident is likely the book-loving young man you once called Master. Book-loving young man? You mean Mathis? Yes. Depending on his actions, a blank incident can be resolved at blink. Ankou uttered a deep sigh, slightly disgruntled that his words were obscured. So go after that young man and support him. Well, I suppose you're already taking measures to do so, even without my advice. How things change. You were but a frail young maiden trembling in fear when we first met. But now, you've grown into a fine woman who supports the man she's chosen. Uncle's like, despite the fact that I went back in time for you, I fucked up my whole entire existence for you. Like, Adolphe's done a lot for us, is all I'm saying. After muttering that he was jealous, Ankou disappeared. Aww. Now we don't get an Ankou route. We have to do, like, Adolphe and then Ankou. They're separate now. The next day, the Arpachel royal family placed a gag order on Boro's existence to prevent chaos from breaking out among the citizens. Sorry. Also, this is very familiar, and maybe, because obviously they did it. I feel like they did it multiple times. After announcing that Boro was dead, if anyone found out he was still alive, the royal family would completely lose face. As only one person was killed, the royal family was planning on capturing and erasing Boro's existence before rumors spread. Good luck with that! At least that was what Jean thought as he told me with a shrug. Aww. There's our boyfriendos back.
I never would have guessed that could happen to Mathis.
He's pushing himself too hard, considering he's recovering from being sick. I hope he's not collapsed somewhere. I kind of forgot Hugo existed. I'm not gonna fucking lie. Hugo popped up and was like, all right, Hugo! You went a little psycho on us at one point, but like, it's okay, we'll forgive you, you're precious. Like, we don't get like a side route. We don't get like a Hugo side route. I'm just saying, that would have been kind of nice. You introduced an adorable character and we don't get to, oh, well, that's true. Okay, let's be real. We can't actually have Hugo because I'm pretty sure Hugo's in love with Eve. No matter what he says, it's like, I'm sorry. Hugo will never love us the way he loves Eve. I don't think the game specifically was like Hugo is gay for Eve, but he absolutely 100% is. So, but like, I support it. We've asked some hospitals and medical clinics, but it seems no one matching Mathis's description came to them. I see. In that case, I suppose we can be sure he's chasing after Boro himself. Yes, and I know very well you're all busy with Boro yourselves. But could you also lend a hand in searching for my master as well? Three men looked at each other and nodded in reply at Jean's timid request. That's fine. I'm sure if Mathis is after Boro, they'll both end up in the same place. Adolphe then went on to tell me that he and the usual crew were checking on Boro. So regardless, he was planning on investigating behind the Royal Guard's back.
I'm worried about Mathis too, so I'll help with whatever we can.
In fact, we might get clues about Boro if we look for Mathis too. Thank you so much. I promise to repay this favor. Jean firmly lowered his head, and the others smiled as if to say the formalities weren't necessary. In any case, let's go check out the spot where you ran into Boro. Right. The spot at which we arrived still had traces of blood. It's such a pretty fucking background, though. I mean, like, I know that they got, like, some weeds growing up in the ground, but, like, it's just pretty. Alright, Hugo and I will look around the street over that way. You be sure you don't get lost from Eve and Jean, no matter what. We don't know where Boro may be hiding or when he might appear, after all. Alright, both of you, be careful. After watching the two men leave, I looked around my surroundings.
No, sis!
Right here, last night, that woman...
Spacey, are you okay?
If you're not feeling well, I suggest you return to the mansion. No, I'm alright. Please, don't worry about me. We wouldn't get anywhere with me like this. In fact, I'd just be in everyone's way. I pursed my lips to keep myself quiet as I looked for Mathis when... There he is. I almost bumped into him as he stepped out from around a corner. Master!
So this is where you were. Everyone was really worried about you. And more people in my way.
Eve and Jean both froze at his cold response. It's so funny because he still has his pretty little timid spread, like, oh, hunched over, and then this one, like, oh, look at me being a pretty little doll boy, and then he's like, I'll kill you all if you get in my way, and it's like, sir! So this is your doing. Mathis looked at me with a gaze that could kill. And yet, he really isn't, so it's like, you know, you're not doing yourselves any favors, game, because the sprites just look the same old sprites that we had, so like, that is not a gaze that could kill. Look at him batting his pretty eyes at you. I mean, I guess it could kill if Mathis is your type and he's your favorite. You know what I'm saying? Mathis, let's go back to the mansion. If you really wish to capture Boro, we should all work together and... Are you stupid? I'd be less likely to kill Boro if I join the... Oh, I'd be less likely to... Yeah, if I join the Corps whose objective is just to capture him. But I'm sure it'll be much better than acting all alone. Shut up, you hypocrite! See, now this is an angry sprite. In his anger, Mathis kicked the wall right beside him.
Mathis, Master!
Even Jean rushed over and pulled me away from Mathis. But Mathis's hostility toward me didn't fade.
It must be nice being able to bemoan how you're death. Yet you've never lost a single person who's truly important to you. You'll never know how I feel, having a brother who was tormented to death.
Who's standing literally right here. This is why it's so funny. Well,
you're wrong, Mathis.
I looked up to see Eve step in front of me as if to protect me.
Spacey knows the pain of losing someone dear to her. It's because she knows that she's trying so hard to make sure she doesn't lose you, another treasure of hers.
Eve.
Women have it so easy. They just need to say things that sound nice and men come and protect them unconditionally. Listen, this is not the day for your toxic masculinity bullshit. I will yeet you into the sun, motherfucker. We have enough of that shit up in this house, in this country. We don't need you making it worse. How dare you, Mathis?
Master, that's quite enough. And Jean's standing up for us. This stabby, murdery bastard. Just saying. Just saying. At least he fakes it nice.
Unfortunately, my need for revenge isn't as simple as pretending we're all friends here. If you intend to continue getting in my way, I'll kill you all right now before I kill Boro.
Ow, bird! My breath stopped in my throat when I saw the glint of the dagger he drew without hesitation.
Are you serious, Mathis? Of course I am. I left the mansion prepared to throw away everything other than my revenge. I see. I didn't want to have to fight you if possible. But if you intend on hurting someone, then I'll stop you with everything I have.
They glowered at each other with ferocity. There was no telling which one of them would swing their blade first through this air of hostility and bloodthirst. I was afraid of a future where these two, as close to each other as siblings, would start killing each other. So I started speaking. So, does that mean if we don't get in your way, we can stay with you? And that was what came out of me.
What? Spacey, what are you saying?
If I don't get in the way of your revenge and in fact help you, would you stop running away on your own? I feel like this is different. Oh my god, I just threw my mouse. You know what I mean? This doesn't feel familiar to me at all. But the other kind of scenes did. But again, I think that was setting it up. You know what I mean? Like it was something that, but this feels different. But I could just be misremembering. Let me know.
Spacey, you can't. This is ridiculous.
Exasperated by my suggestion, Mathis put away his dagger, but he didn't say no!
Master, where are you going? I have no reason to tell that to my enemy. The next time you get in my way again, I'll be sure to kill you.
He turned his back and disappeared into the alley. Well, well, well. Interesting. So, okay, well, anyway, we're gonna keep going with the encore. I don't know how long, I don't know if there's chapters or whatever, so we'll see, but I will see you guys next time. I hope you're enjoying this first part. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.